So I think the idea of having a creative practice that has no beginning or end, for me, is there's a micro and a macro answer to that. The micro answer probably has to do with the material of improvisation. So beginning a performance in an improvisatory manner and not having a really like a clear idea of what that means from moment to moment. So finding this material, navigating it, there's no real beginning or end in that sense. There's just material that exists that I then, when I sit down to perform, can explore aspects of it. So that's the, I guess, the micro version of the no beginning or end. And then on a broader macro scale, it is more just being a kind of a human bag of meat on this planet for a period of time that engages in a creative practice that begins before me and will continue after me, of which I'm almost irrelevant in the face of that. So having this thing where I'm both like a little moment activating the microscopic layer of beginning and endlessness, as well as being an ever so slightly larger blip on the kind of cosmic scale of, I guess, a broader creative force. Community building is something I think about quite a lot, and I think some of that comes from the fact that everything that I've learned has come from a practice like that. So everything I know how to do with Max is because people before me and people that I know have shared their knowledge with me. So it's something that I take quite seriously in terms of making sure that I do the same for other people. And then beyond that, I view the practice of community building and sharing and education and teaching as something that's fundamentally a creative practice. So I don't view it as a separate thing from my performances or videos or recordings. They're one and the same. So the fact that I'll make some software that someone else can use, that itself is an extension of performance. And not necessarily my performance in an ego sense, but performance in the sense that it's just creating more material in the world, more music, more art. So building things in a manner that are outward facing. So every bit of code that I write is built with the idea that I will share it with other people. Perhaps not every single thing, some of it is boring and banal, but most of it that I use for my creative practice, I build in a manner that other people will use it, or I build it in a way that I think other people will use it. So that attention and focus to legibility and processability and digestibility, I think permeates that. And I think, like with many things of creative practice, when other people engage with work like that, it makes them think about it in a certain way as well. So they're more likely to share and engage in a practice in a similar way. So it has a kind of a fractal quality to it where it will just extend beyond that for every person that it touches. I think the things that excite me most as a musician right now are pushing against the edges of what's possible with technology, and specifically being that I do a lot of things with drums and performance, the idea of how fast things can happen. Because I think there's a technical limit to what's possible in terms of being able to do something and then a sound come out. And then beyond that, being able to get material beyond now. So like a pseudo time travel philosophical thing of how do you know the future before it has happened? So I think things like that is what I find most exciting now, pushing against this semi-philosophical question, but from a technical perspective. Because I think there's aspects of it that are not solvable. Like it's time travel, I don't think is possible in the context of music performance, but a subset of time travel, I think is possible in the context of a specific kind of music performance. And that's something that I find interesting and challenging to push up against that and find what's not just technically possible, but like aesthetically possible from that as a jumping off point.